Howdy gamers, let's talk about the runes for LeBlanc mid lane. They're pretty standard, but the few variations come in depending on her matchups, as most champions are. What LeBlanc's looking for in her runes is just like amplification to her damage, and then um, utility in singling out a target, and then also being like slippery in fights, as that's LeBlanc's huge uh, it's her strengths, dealing a lot of damage instantly and then surviving and being a nuisance for the enemy team to either finish her off or to like kill her at all. So starting off with the Keystone, it's going to be Electrocute. It's really her only Keystone option. The reason you run Electrocute over Dark Harvest is because LeBlanc's damage is like capped to a sense by her itemization early, and LeBlanc's really looking to kill one target, and killing other targets is kind of icing on the cake. You're going to kill the other targets through having the second rotations of your abilities anyways. With something like Dark Harvest, it gives you more value when you can damage multiple enemy champions, but that's better used on like say Karthus jungle, right? Where you have either the AoE damage or um, you have an ability that wants to finish off multiple enemies. With Electrocute, it functions as a laning tool, and it also functions as a single target damaging keystone. And since it since it is just that, there's more damage loaded into it for the one target versus for multiple targets, and then that's just more useful for LeBlanc. With Electrocute, whenever you hit an enemy champion with 3 separate attacks, or within 3 seconds, then you deal bonus adaptive damage based on your level, and then also based on bonus AP for LeBlanc. And it's on a 25 to 20 second cooldown, so basically 23 seconds for most stages of the game for mid lane LeBlanc. And then where it's only on a 25-second cooldown, it can be used as an offensive laning tool. It can also be used to like kill one target and then roam to another lane and then attack that target as well. So the cooldown really isn't that significant, other than if you're just hitting your own lane opponent. And then again with it, just having that extra damage whenever you take a small like QW auto trade or QWE trade against the enemy laner, then the extra damage that it deals is going to put you at way more significant lane states than it otherwise would. And then whenever you're all inning or ganking a lane, then the extra damage is going to help you actually secure a kill versus not. For the secondary runes, you have good options in Taste of Blood or Sudden Impact. You really have to think about your lane matchup. Into melee matchups, you should pretty much always run Sudden Impact, as you don't need the extra healing from Taste of Blood. In ranged matchups, so most matchups in the mid lane, like Orianna, Syndra, you do get pretty good value out of Taste of Blood, as with Taste of Blood, you heal whenever you damage the enemy champion, and then it's only on a 20-second cooldown. So it becomes basically like a defensive laning tool, as a lot of what LeBlanc needs to do in those matchups is endure the early part of it, but then also be a threat to the enemy champion with her jungler. So with Taste of Blood, it puts you at like a higher amount of HP at basically all stages of the lane. Um, but you do miss out on the damage from Sudden Impact. With Sudden Impact, after you use your W or your Flash on LeBlanc, then you're going to gain 7 lethality and then 6 magic penetration for 5 seconds. And that just effectively gives you more damage. Like Sudden Impact can basically be like a minor keystone in terms of the damage that it offers. But you do lose a lot of the utility in the ranged matchups in the mid lane without Taste of Blood. So depending on your matchup, think about it. Sudden Impact is the greedier option, but when you can get away with running it, do look to run it, and in every melee matchup, run it. So if you're looking for a default 2, I'd recommend Sudden Impact. It's just simply more damage, so effectively easier to use. For the third rune, you're basically choosing how you get the bonus ability power from these. With Zombie Ward, you're getting the bonus ability power through clearing wards, and you also get a place another ward whenever you clear the ward. With Ghost Borrow, you earn the ability power through placing wards, and then with Eyeball Collection, you get the bonus ability power through getting kills or assists. The most consistent way to build up the AP is through Ghost Borrow, but it is harder to use Ghost Borrow, especially like if you don't if you've never used it, and then it's just easier to use eyeball collection. And if you're snowballing on LeBlanc, you also build up the ability power potentially faster with eyeball collection than you otherwise would. So the default I'd recommend would be eyeball collection. Ghost Portal is okay though. Don't run Zombie Ward ever. For the fourth rune, you have okay options in Relentless Hunter and Ravenous Hunter. With Ravenous Hunter, you heal for a percentage of damage dealt by your abilities, which is pretty good for LeBlanc, as you're really looking to, again, be slippery in fights, and where LeBlanc's abilities deal so much damage, healing from them is pretty useful, even though you're probably only going to be healing on the second rotation of your Q and W. That's completely fine, as you can hit multiple targets with the W, and then therefore you're healing more as you're dealing more damage with it. And yeah, with Relentless Hunter, if you have a lane that is naturally winning or that you can push out, you can get pretty okay value out of Relentless Hunter, as it helps you move to side lanes. But then after the early game's over, you kind of lose a lot of value out of Relentless Hunter, as even if you're playing in the side lane, it's pretty much a given of like where you're going to be on LeBlanc. So other champions just use Relentless Hunter better. So Ravenous Hunter is going to help you at all stages of the game, and the extra healing just makes LeBlanc more useful. Basically, no matter the team comps or whatnot. For the secondary runes, you have okay options in Inspiration with Time Warp Tonic and Biscuits. You have okay options in Sorcery with Mana Flow and Transcendence. You also have okay options in Precision with Triumph and Coup de Grace, or Presence of Mind and Coup de Grace. I think it'd be easiest to use something like Triumph and Coup de Grace, as again, LeBlanc is looking to just kill someone and then also survive. And then through surviving, it's really annoying for the enemy and then really useful for your team. And if you get a second rotation of your abilities off, even better. So with Triumph, you restore 12% of your missing health and whenever you get a kill or assist, and then it also grants you an additional 20 gold. And then with Coup de Grace, you deal 8% more damage to champions who are below 40% health. So it helps you kill targets in one shot, and it also helps you survive. So that's pretty good. And then the runes would always be Adaptive Force, and then Armor. Or if you're playing into an AP matchup, then Magic Resist. For Sorcery, if you were to run this secondary, the utility would be either having Manifold Band and Transcendence or Nullifying Orb Transcendence into a matchup like Syndra. It'd make it really lame where she couldn't just finish you off. And then you also wouldn't have to itemize into Merc Treads in a matchup like that if you have this. And then with Transcendence, having 10% CDR past level 10 is really useful, as it helps you get your second rotation of your Q and W off. So if you're looking to scale, something like this is probably more consistent. And then with Inspiration, this would be probably for melee matchups where Biscuits and Time Warp Tonic just immediately gives you health that you otherwise wouldn't get. But that is pretty low value on LeBlanc, as you should be like picking and choosing your trades versus just taking them all the time. And in melee matchups, they're either pushing out the wave or have immediate lethal, so against a champion like Zed, it doesn't even make sense, you know? So if there's a default you're looking for, I would recommend Triumph and Coup de Grace, but if you're looking for consistency, then I would go with Mana Flow plus Transcendence. So that's really that with LeBlanc runes. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I answer literally all of them. If this video helped you, leaving a like on the video helps me. And if you're interested in watching me play or talk about League of Legends, you can check out my Twitch. It's twitch.tv/SawyerNelson. Links in the description, man. LeBlanc, she's kind of had her time. I bet she's going to get reworked this season, to be honest. But, yeah. Yeah, LeBlanc. DFG. Remember DFG? Dude, pressing one button and then just QW someone? That was crazy.